Hello, my name is Soundjip and welcome to another music production tutorial. Today we're going to start making our first ambient loop. We're going to start today by talking about harmony, sound selection and going over some basic music theory to get you started. So I hope that you enjoy today's video and let's jump straight into it right now. The first thing that I'd recommend when you boot up your digital audio workstation, that can be something like Ableton Live or Mixcraft or Pro Tools or Studio One, the software you use for making your music. I'd advise you setting your BPM, your beats per minute, the amount of time it takes for one bar of music to happen, basically, as around 90 BPM. 90 BPM is quite slow, and I generally recommend a slower BPM for ambient music. It doesn't have to be 90 BPM, just anything below 120 I think should be fine, but 90 is probably, in my opinion, your perfect point, at least for me. The thing that I recommend after that is that you remain in 4/4 time, especially if you're a beginner. That means that there's going to be 4 beats in a bar, so the metronome is going to beep 4 times when you're recording things, for example. It's the easiest, kind of most basic time signature of music, and you can switch it up when you get more advanced, but I'd recommend staying in 4/4, you're rarely going to come out of it. So now let's jump into sound selection. I have recorded a piece of audio and I've talked about sound selection, so let's go. Okay, so let's begin with sound selection. So the first thing that you're going to want for ambient music, in my opinion, is a synth pad. So I've gone into Mixcraft and chosen a default synth pad called Gently Now. I quite like it. It's a really nice sounding pad. It sounds something like this. So as you could hear, I'd already put in some chords, which I'll call the harmony in this video, in the sound selection section. So we're going to go into our music theory section and we're going to talk about what those chords are. So I'm going to try and get the music theory part of this video over as soon as I possibly can. So just for some context, we're going to be in the key of F major. F major scale sounds like this. Right, so how do we get that? So let's start from C. So we're C here. This is the first note that probably anyone learns on a piano. Right, C major chord and stuff. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes to this, which is an F note. Now, how do we build our scale? How do we know which notes we can use and which notes we can't use? Although I wouldn't use that language, but just for simple stuff just now, let's go with what we can and can't use. So we go F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. So that's your scale. What about your chords? So the first chord that I used in that little synth pad example there for picking a sound is what's called a C suspended chord. So suspended chords, that sounds very big, doesn't it? Or weird, if you're an Among Us fan, I suppose. But C suspended chord sounds like this. A suspended chord is used to add tension to things, so you'll hear it quite a lot in soundtracks. So for example, sometimes a chord progression will sound like, right, so that's an example of tension. Probably not a great example, but right, so basically a suspended chord is used to get back to our major chord. So a C suspended chord sounds like this, like I've shown before, and it goes to, it can also go to the minor chord, the darker chord. Sounds a bit darker, right? But usually it's to the major chord in a lot of soundtrack stuff. So let's go over the chords. So I've told you what a suspended chord is, a C sus4. We're going to move this G note to an F, we actually get an F major chord, but this is called an inversion of an F major chord. The reason why it's called an inversion is that a normal F major chord sounds something like this. But our F major chord sounds like this, because our main note, F, is in the middle, or it can be at the end as well. But the point is, it's not at the start, right? It's not the first note that we play, it's C, the first note that we play. After that, we go to C suspended, C sus4 chord, sorry, or just you can, not C, sorry, F suspended. So F sus4, C, F, B flat. A normal F suspended chord sounds like F, B flat, C, but the one we're using sounds like this. Say exactly the same notes, just played in a different order. Played in C, F, B flat. After that, we're going to move, again, just one finger, this C here, to a D, and we get, this is a B flat major chord. D, F, B flat. A normal B flat major chord sounds like B flat, D, F. But our one, because of the inversion, sounds like this, because it's D, F, B flat. So that's the only chords that we're using today. So I've put it together in the synth pad section, but I'll put it together here as well, just so you can hear it on a normal piano. Nice, so you've made your first piece of harmony and the first part of your first ever loop of ambient music. So you are now better at making music than you were before you watched this video. So I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that you're enjoying the next upcoming parts, which will go into things like melody and adding things to harmony. And stuff like that, and as well as mixing and arranging and things like that. But we're just focusing on the very basics just now. I don't want to overwhelm anyone, so we're focusing mainly on the very basic things, because, well, to be honest, if I watched this when I was a beginner, I would have been absolutely terrified to even figure out what harmony was, because it sounds very big and a lot more, you know, scary than it actually is. So I'm trying to split this into sort of small parts and be able to be very easily consumed over time, and you can do it at your own pace and things like that. So I hope that you've enjoyed the first part of today's video, and if you can, please listen to the song which is there below. It's from my newest album, the Ambient ones, and if you want to know where I got inspiration to make this video, if you want to know why I'm focusing on ambient music, it's because I'm making an ambient album and I wanted to sort of bring my knowledge and bring it to other people, and hopefully I can help some beginners that are just starting music production. So thank you, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.